Want to 10x your growth? Discover how only 3 growth hacks in 10 days can change everything. Welcome to the 10-Day Growth Hacking Challenge with your host, Nader Sabri. Today, we are here on the last final video with Simran and her team at Power Women, shaking things up when it comes to women empowerment, with their philosophy being it isn't about the empowerment itself, but rather the navigation through that empowerment. They're doing this using things like AI tools, community building, and other things, including some really interesting hacks. A lot of them have to do with building consistent campaigns that get the brand out there. I'm going to provide some feedback to you on that as we move forward. But before we do that, first off, congratulations. I owe you 2 congratulations. Number 1, congratulations and shout out to the Founders Institute, who sponsored you to be here. And that is an honor because the Founders Institute only puts their top entrepreneurs into this program. So hats off to you, and thank you to the Founders Institute for sponsoring you, and congratulations, of course, for finishing the 10 days.
Thank you, Nader. Thank you. I'm grateful both for Founders Institute. So we were a fellowship founder company, Power Women, and also grateful to you, Nader, for the amazing 10 days.
No, it's been a good 10 days, and I know you guys have put an amazing amount of effort. I've seen how genuine and authentic you and your team have been, and how you've been, and I like the fact that you and your team collectively have been working to build a growth culture by testing these things out together and not just leaving things to random. I've seen contenders literally outsource growth to people on their team and not touch it, and things don't go well. So seeing the principal owner of the business being yourself, taking responsibility and driving growth is going to go a long way. You may not see it or feel it now, but with time, you will step back and realize that it's a very good decision to do that. Probably one of the growth mistakes that I see some founders make. Nonetheless, as we come to the end here, give us a bit of feedback on what you think on the process, some of the transformations that have happened in the last 10 days, and some things that have just like really moved the needle for you, whether it be you as an individual, you, your business, or you and your team, or all 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe a few things. I think maybe one, I came in, sometimes you think, you hear so much growth, these companies have grown so fast. Come in sometimes the expectation, okay, I'm really going to grow 10x maybe, or let me think of the optimal act or the optimal viral thing. But actually, it's been very interesting learning, your whole approach of try it out, experiment, get the signals, pivot, move, right? So I'm now, the whole team is in that mode, right? And we know that of the 3, at least one we can get it there, but it'll take time. In 10 days, good. Not because, of course, we are building a global company, so it's even harder, right? Because and the topic, the problem we are solving is also a big one. Yep. But I'm quite confident about the second hack. I think we just need time and consistency. Yep. But the major learning has been that, of course, there's a lot of courage needed, right? Sometimes and overthinkings. There were times where I felt, okay, maybe are we overthinking? So let's stop doing that. Let's just do it.
Yes.
And,
yes.
Agile, right? Experiment, and we can pivot.
Yep. Exactly.
So that's good.
Yeah. And I noticed that, by the way. I remember in the very beginning, like, you were overthinking, but by the time you reached your second growth hack, it was gone. It was out of your system. You picked up very quickly, like, I'm just looking for a signal. Once I find that signal, how do I scale on that signal? And you and your team picked up on that really fast. From 1 to 2, there was a huge transformation, which I saw there. The other thing is like the amount of detail that you were paying attention to, and you were asking all the right questions, and you were asking me at the right time as well. Because I always say, like, listen, you use me and abuse me, and it's in a nice way. It is, and yes, I mean, contenders who use this opportunity the way you have usually end up doing a lot better in the long term than those who just kind of take it for granted and expect it just to work magically. Because unfortunately, nothing works magically. There's a science behind how growth works, and the science is there to be used and to be used effectively, of course. So I saw that transformation for sure. Yeah.
And I think we will imbibe the culture, right? So it's been a great 10 days of learning as well. So now I think number 3, we'll focus on 1 for the next month. But then once that's done, we want to again have this culture. Let's think of the next 3 that we want to do. And then we keep that in the organization. Yeah. And I think sometimes when you're building a company, you can have moments where you get very inward. So the faster you try these out, you get the signals, at the end, it's the consumer that matters. Yeah. So it's important you get the signals, you're listening. Yeah. And you change course based on that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, as founders and CEOs of businesses, we always assume that we know the best. I call it the boardroom ego. So boardroom ego is one of these like highly blinding scenarios. And you walk into the boardroom and everybody seems to have the answer. And so if everyone has the answer, why isn't the problem solved? You know what I mean? And it's like one of these crazy logics. I mean, I literally walk into Fortune 500 organizations. Everyone seems to know everything, but there's still a problem. And I just like the logic is just not there, man. It just hits people in the face. So it is what it is. I mean, Mike Tyson has a saying, everyone has a plan till they get punched in the face. And it is like a punch to the face for many people in a very positive way. I mean, as you noticed in the very beginning, I was mentioning one of the transformations, of course, in the discovery call, discomfort, right? So many people, this is designed to make people uncomfortable. Now, constructively uncomfortable, meaning you'll be uncomfortable, but you're not going off the edge. You're not going to be destroyed. It's not the objective. The objective here is like to be uncomfortable and move with it. And that's what you've been doing. And that's been a very good thing. And the way that you got your team involved, I think also is something that I really enjoyed seeing, because it's going to work out very well for you on that front.
Thank you. And I think it really brought me again back close to the customer. Because the hacks were all related, again, you start thinking of why you're doing what you're doing and how can you, grow it, take it to the next level. And it's just, and the signals again tell you a lot about, are you doing the things correctly or not, or how you should change. So that was great.
Awesome. So before I provide, there was one piece of feedback, as I told you, I was holding for a very good reason. But before I do that, for those who are tuning in, if there was some advice that you would like to offer to people who are watching this, that they can learn from you using this methodology or growth hacking, what would that advice be from you to them, from what you've learned or seen or experienced in the last 10 days?
Yeah, I think the best thing that I've learned is that you think of the hack and you come, but it's, listen to the signal and then pivot if required, right? So it's the signals that matter the most. Exactly. And then, of course, and then you can build on it.
Yeah.
So nowadays, everybody's working on this. There is just so much stuff happening. There's just so much content. So it does take time to stand out.
Yes.
And but you can do it. Just be at it. But listen to the signals carefully and then change as required.
Perfect. So on the point of standing out, that was the feedback I wanted to share with you, because I actually took your campaign and shared it individually with a few people who I encouraged to actually go do it. And as I spoke to them, I told them, this is, Simran, she's doing something in women empowerment. In fact, sorry, I said that I have one of my contenders doing something in women's empowerment. I kept it generic initially, and like, oh, I think I know her. And I was like, oh, okay, what's her name? And so they would give me like 3-4 different names and 3-4 different initiatives. And so what I recognized was that there's a lot of noise in your space, which you already know. And the consistency in what you're doing is so crucial. And that's what I was telling you kind of in the beginning. I said, I have feedback, but you're on the right track. Because if you're like brutally consistent on the things that you're doing in these hacks, you will eliminate that problem but as a byproduct without you even having to think about it. The more frequent you are and the more creative you are in implementing what we're doing, the more visibility you'll get and more people will understand you and understand your unique perspective and how it stands out. When I shared your philosophy with them, they're like, wow, okay, that's interesting. And so it got them to you. And so I kind of tested these two things. And so awareness, yes, problem being solved. When they heard of your unique sales proposition, they bought into it. So feedback.
Well, that's wonderful.
Very constructive, actually. Very, very constructive, I think.
Thank you very much. So that's precisely the feedback I also got from one of our strong promoters today from the referral campaigns. She said she referred to many women and she asked us, of course, the content on the site is now quite old. So that's something that we need to work on. We know that it's there. And then again, it was very much about, the USP, but also actually communicating really well what you're doing.
Yeah.
Beyond the noise, what you're saying. So we are now precisely doing that, building case studies of exactly, the insight that we have.
Yeah.
It is not very well share on the page, right?
I think it's like one of those consistency things. I mean, once you start doing more of this stuff and you get control over your content and some of the tools that you're using, so you got to be sure you got, control in that stuff, that you can consistently update things the way that you want to be doing it. That will change naturally. It will just change. And your perspective, I think, after these 10 days is going to be so much sharper on how you want that content to look, especially since you're putting a content calendar in place. Your content calendar's got to be integrated into your content and the way that you communicate on your website and everything else that you do, including email. So don't ever overlook email. Email is probably the most powerful digital tool you can use. Don't underestimate it. Use it wisely with this consistent content. It will do nothing but pay you back very well. You need to experiment, but you'll get it right. It's not that complicated. So, yeah.
No.
Awesome. So there we go. So here we are at the end. Awesome. So as you know, I mean, as part of our challenge, we have a pay it forward system. Someone paid it forward to you. And so we always encourage everyone to pay it forward to 3 more people that they believe can benefit from this process, but also qualify to be part of our program. So I always hand it over to you. Who would you like to nominate to take the torch next and grow?
So I want to nominate a phenomenal lady first. I just did a podcast with her this week.
Okay.
She's also a fellow INSEAD alum, Sonal Behel. She runs a very popular podcast. And I think she can really do a lot. And she's awesome. And yeah, I would like to nominate her.
Awesome.
Sonal for her
Okay.
podcast. And I've seen that you've done a growth challenge with somebody who hosted our podcast in the region.
Yes. He 10x. Yes, he's done some awesome work in that space. He's built a media empire after this challenge. He's been one of our amazing guys, actually. So yeah, I mean, she can stand to benefit a lot from that learning and some of the other things that we can do, obviously beyond that. And that's how this challenge works, right? We keep challenging the playbook to get it bigger and better every single time.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you have anybody else you want to nominate, or is it just her? Or is that it?
Yes, I would like to nominate Arzu.
Okay.
She was a part of FI, and me and her were the only 2 female.
Okay.
In the whole group, and sometimes it was interesting. We've always, of course, pitching mostly to male mentors, and I felt she's done an awesome job. Her business is a bit. Could be a little harder to scale, and but she's worked really hard, and I really liked her work, so I would love to nominate her as well.
Awesome. All right, cool. So just those 2, or anyone else? Is that it? Yeah.
So on the top of my mind, yeah, those 2.
Those 2. Okay, awesome. No, it's up to you. I mean, yeah, I have some contenders. Once we're done, they start like, hey, can I nominate this person? I was like, okay, wait, do they qualify? Be sure. I mean, and we take a look because they get super excited about the idea that they can help someone else within the pay it forward system. And that's how we work here, because it's an energy thing. It's a bit difficult to describe, but it's a way of moving the energy in a positive way for everybody involved in the system. So that's fantastic. So as we come to the end, I always have a last surprise for everybody. The last surprise is always, as you know, in the book, I mean, we have 20 spots in here, and we've done 3 together in 10 days. So if you finish the remaining 17 in the next 60 days, I would put you into my All-Star program, which is being developed now. The All-Star program is where we take those who do very well in our growth hacking activities to the next level, to getting them even bigger, better support, and getting them into even more powerful networks of other people who are doing amazing work in the area of growth and growth sciences and growth hacking. So the challenge is on to you. No pressure, of course, but some people will just nail it real quick. Some people are like, it's up to you. I leave it at the very end as a final thing. So there we go. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. I'm excited. I think it's become a way of life. So I'm enjoying thinking about the next, what could we do next? So
yeah, keep that energy and momentum going. Yeah, that's the spirit of it. It's like, what can I do next that's bigger and better? Or how can I do what I'm doing bigger or better to continuously scale and find those signals, right? So keep digging like a gopher. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Now, thank you for the opportunity. Sounds really great.
Awesome. Best of luck. Keep me posted on your growth. I look forward to hearing some great results coming from your side.
Yeah, Nadir, I really want to thank you also for being so awesome and texting anytime, sharing reposting our stuff, opening us to your network, right? So you opened the door.
No, thank you. And I'll try my best to continue doing that. I try my best to support contenders as much as I can as I move along as well. They're part of my community and network as well. And I want them to succeed way beyond just the challenge. So it's really important that we, use this opportunity to continue to grow. Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, Simran.